Joining us now, we have the great Jets beat writer for the New York Post. It's my guy, Brian Costello, who is here. Brian, what's going on?
Just waiting for this pick, guys.
Well, I know you're waiting for the pick. You can't. This is one of your favorite days of the year. You can't wait for this to be over, Brian. I know you can't wait for this to be over. You just want it to be back. What? Yeah. What do you think the Jets are looking at 7? Because we talked about tight end. Tyler Warren is in play. You talked about offensive line. If can this team protect Justin Fields? What do you think the Jets are going to do here at 7?
Yeah, I've been leaning tackle, guys, but I mean, it could go either way. I'd be shocked if it's not one of the 3 guys right now. If it's not Membou, Banks, or Warren, I'd be surprised. But, you know, it could go any of those directions, I think. To me, I think it's harder to find a tackle outside of the first round. That's why I lean that way. I think you can probably get a tight end in the second round or through a trade. Just checking here. Nope. So, you know, that's why I've been leaning tackle for a little while now.
Is there one tackle you like better than the of the offensive line that you like better than the others? Is Membou the guy for you that if he's there?
Yeah. I'm not going to pretend like I know these guys. You know, I can evaluate tackles from college, but just from kind of everything I've heard and read, I feels like Membou is the guy who has more upside. But you know, the Texas tackle was really highly rated all season and then kind of dropped down, which is a little bit weird. One of those draft things. And Membou has just kind of risen up the ranks among the draft gurus. We don't know what the teams actually think and what the Jets think, but we're going to find out here soon, I guess.
Kaz, let me ask you something. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Frankie.
Hey, so let's talk just generally speaking with this draft. Do you think, I know a lot of Jet fans were actually happy that Cleveland ended up taking Mason Graham at 5, because me being one of those fans, I was a little nervous we were going to go defense. We still may. Yeah. It's not possible. But do you think the Jets are going to look at the defensive side of the ball throughout the course of this draft? Maybe not at 7, but Aaron Glenn obviously being a former corner. Yeah. Like, what do you think there?
They still need a defensive lineman, in my opinion.
Definitely.
You know, and I think they probably could use some help at safety. I think they could use an edge rusher, you know, for some depth.
Yeah.
You know, are we tipping picks, guys?
Sure.
Go right ahead.
It's Membou.
There you go. Well, how you feeling?
Man. Well, we had this debate. We had a conversation live, you know, with Brandon. Listen, Membou's a high floor right tackle. He is going to be a very good right tackle in this league. No doubt about it. I have no bust alert on him at all.
Right.
I wanted the flashy tight end. I wanted Tyler Warren, man.
You did.
We haven't had a tight end make the Pro Bowl since 1988. I know I say that every time, but I mean, I don't not like the pick. I'm not going to be a jerk fan and just
don't be that. Don't be that.
I'm not going to be that person.
Like, here's the reality. The reality too, Frankie. Right? Like, you can react. Or I understand it as a fan. You're going to react to this. The truth is, we won't know how good this pick is for 2 years, 3 years, right?
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I'm sure
something like that.
I'm sure there's a pick in the past that you loved, Frankie, that didn't work out. I could see you with your Calvin Pryor jersey on, or your
not that jersey. I had some other ones.
D. Milner, or you know, Sam Darnold, or you know, you don't know. Like, I'm
Zach
sure there's picks
Zach Wilson jersey.
I did like Deron Lee. I'll say that.
You might have hated it. So,
and I like Christian Hackenberg also, but don't tell anybody.
That's the tricky part of the draft. And, you know, these draft grades and all that stuff is like it's all kind of you know, silly right now.
Do you think this was the right pick for the Jets, Brian?
Yeah, and again, like I'm saying, I don't know how it'll turn out, but logic, right? I grade on logic with the draft, Dexter.
Right.
Like so logically, yes, because when I look at the Jets offense right now, it's going to be a run first offense. Okay. You have a quarterback who can run the ball for the first time ever since I've seen the Jets. Okay. You've got Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis, who I think are a nice trio of running backs. The offensive line started to come together toward the end of last year. You have 4 of those guys back. The thing that was kind of missing was that right tackle. So now you've got that. Can they run the ball? Can they become a bully? Can they sort of emulate what Aaron Glenn had in Detroit, you know, with Jahmyr Gibbs there in Montgomery, a really good offensive line? And, you know, yes, they are lacking in playmakers right now. You have Garrett Wilson, and there's not a whole lot else. I call it Breece Hall too, but in terms of receiving, so let's see what they can do. Can they find a receiver or a tight end tomorrow night in the draft? Can they trade for maybe Dallas Goedert or Mark Andrews and firm up that tight end position? They have work to do there, but I do think logically this made sense.
Yeah, I did think so. What have you thought about what else has gone on throughout the draft tonight? We see Ashton Jeanty go before as first running back taken.
It felt like that Jeanty momentum was gaining steam in recent days. I think the trade, at 2 was surprising. To give up that much for a non-quarterback, kind of shocking.
Do you think it was too much? When you say it's shocking, do you think it was too much?
Yeah, I think it was probably too much.
Okay.
We'll see. I heard from a lot of people, when I was trying to figure out what the teams were doing in front of the Jets, that Jacksonville was going to go offense. I know some people had Mason Graham, but the word was they really wanted offense. So I'm assuming that Hunter's going to play wide receiver there. I think I saw one report maybe from Schefter that was the plan. But, it seems like that's the way they go. They need to do something to help Trevor Lawrence there.
Kaz, let me ask you something about Breece Hall specifically, staying on this running back combo. Yeah. This running back class, going through it, it's incredibly great. If that's even a way to describe it, it's incredible. I've looked at running back classes. You can go 20 backs deep, and you end up with a back that you're like, this reminds me of Kareem Hunt. Are the Jets looking at, in your opinion, this running back class and saying to themselves, with Breece's 5th year coming up, he's expendable? I mean, what do you think? Is that a real thing, or are you feeling that way? Are you hearing anything? I mean,
look, I think it has to be a consideration of, is Breece going to be here next year? I'd be surprised if they traded him. I know Josina reported that they've had discussions, but I'd be surprised if they moved on from him. I also don't think you can get good value right now on him. He's entering the final year of his contract, and there is no 5th-year option for Breece. He's a 2nd-round pick.
You're right.
So you could tag him. Yeah. You could tag him next year, but he's potentially going to be a free agent. So what's a team giving up for a running back, in a trade when they can, like you just said, they could draft one here and have control of him for 4 years. So I think the trade probably isn't going to happen. But I think they probably are looking running back, and they didn't draft any of these guys. So do they like Braylon Allen? Do they like Isaiah Davis? I mean, I thought Aaron Glenn spoke highly of all of them at the owners' meetings, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're set in stone as players here. To me, Frankie, there's too many other needs right now to be. Running back feels like a kind of like maybe a late round pick. Take somebody who can help on special teams, and maybe they have them next year on offense. But right now, I just think there's too many other holes to fill to be thinking about running back.
When a new regime comes in, Brian, I think you start thinking about, in terms of the draft, what kind of players does this regime want? Do we have an idea of what an Aaron Glenn kind of player is, or is that something we're going to know more of as we get further into mini camp and then training camp?
For sure. I think we'll know more. The more we'll see how these next few days go, and see if there's any trends here. Their first selection is a guy from the SEC, so we'll see if they stick with those big school guys as time goes on here. That's always something you can pay attention to. They describe the same thing all the time, guys. Every coach and GM, we want aggressive, fast, strong, team first guys. Everybody has the same formula. No one's coming in here saying, kind of like the slow, weak guys. So I think we'll get a feel for it, though, as time goes on more. Right now, it's hard to assess what the players are that he wants.
Kaz, I have to ask you this. What is your first question or your next question to Aaron Glenn next time you see him? This is they should have a documentary on this. If ESPN 30 for 30 isn't diving into this, they should think about it, because I find it so fascinating, some of the responses to these questions. Some are harmless questions, like, oh, do you think Jordan Travis will be back? I'm not a doctor. Kaz, are you ready for your next question?
Yeah, look, guys, I'm not going to complain because he's entertaining, I think. I think it makes the press conferences a little interesting, a little spicier. I lived through Todd Bowles, where Todd basically said nothing, and
Nothing.
it was painful. That's a lot harder as a reporter to deal with. So I'm not complaining about Aaron Glenn's press conferences right now. I think it's been fun, and I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, Frankie. He's going to come down here tonight at some point when they know they're done for the night, and we have to ask him about Aaron Rodgers, right? Like that's the job.
Are you going to be the one? I heard you're going to be the one. I
don't know if I'll be the one.
The odds are on Kaz. I saw earlier that he was on
Kaz.
minus 250.
I will say this about Brian. I think Brian is ready to be the one. I'm not saying he has to be the one, but I think if Brian has to do the journalistic job of asking, he's going to do that. I am very confident in that. Let me ask you this, Brian. Do you think he'll give you anything on Aaron Rodgers? Do you think we'll hear anything?
No, I think he'll absolutely say nothing on Aaron Rodgers.
I had to ask.
Yeah, he'll say nothing.
I had to ask. I didn't think we get much on that there. So the Jets pick is in now, officially there. It is Membou, so we know that's in. Brian, we're not going to keep you. We know you have work to do. I'm sure you're happy that you're not in Green Bay. I have to assume you're happy that you're not in Green Bay.
I like Green Bay myself.
What? You do?
I do. Green Bay is an amazing trip.
What do you do in Green Bay, Brian?
It's like a football pilgrimage. Like you go there, like it's like the museum in Lambeau Field is awesome. They have Vince Lombardi's office, like as it was when he was there. It's so cool. It's a very cool place. However,
yes,
I'm not a big crowd. Like the crowd out there, like I would not want to be in that crowd, and I wouldn't want to think about flying into Green Bay is very difficult. And there are not a ton of hotels in Green Bay. I don't know where most people must be staying in Milwaukee. So.
But is that like a 3-hour drive, Milwaukee to Green Bay? Is it that long?
I don't think it's that long, Dexter. I actually did it when they played there. Remember they beat them in what was that, 2022?
Yeah, 2022.
Yep. Yeah, and Elijah Moore tweeted after the game, and I was somewhere in the middle of Wisconsin. I had to pull off to this rest stop on a reservation to follow up on the Elijah Moore tweeting. I think he was tweeting at Samini that night. That was a lot of fun.
That's some great journalism, stopping in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin to get it done. Listen, I have no interest in being part of that crowd in Green Bay. I couldn't do it. Yeah. It doesn't matter where it is. Look, I went to school in Pittsburgh.
Cool place, if you're a fan of a team and they're playing there, try to get to Green Bay sometime. It's a cool place.
Okay, I will do that. Now, what else you do beside that? I have no idea. That is the great Brian Costello, as always, doing a great job with the Jets. Brian, make sure you get a good question in it.
Yeah, good luck tonight, Brian. Stay safe out there tonight, okay?
All right.